Hello, everybody. This is Jimmy. Welcome back to another episode of the Meet the Candidates series of Cambridge School Committee and Cambridge City Council candidates for 2025. Our guest coming up right now is a first-time candidate for the Cambridge School Committee. Please welcome to the show Arjun Jaikumar, and he is running for Cambridge School Committee. First time, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show, Arjun.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for having me. I have to say, this is very exciting privilege for me because I saw you do your comedy show in the 90s when I was growing up in Newton. So, I still remember some of your jokes about being an altar boy and
Good.
going on the Tonight Show, and you thought you killed it, and they told you were too political. So,
Yeah, and
I
now
guess that guided the rest of your career.
I'm doing interviews for the Cambridge City Council and School Committee. So you can see the trajectory.
Yeah.
Politics is not beanbag, my friend.
No, I know, all the way from the Tonight Show to here. This is,
Very few people have done that.
I certainly in that order, probably. But I'm really tickled pink to be here because
thank you.
Yeah, like I've
It's
seen
my
your
pleasure.
stand up many years ago. So yeah, so thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah,
So just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running for Cambridge School Committee.
absolutely. So as I mentioned, I'm a Massachusetts native. I was born in Boston, grew up in Newton. My family moved to Cambridge in the early 2000s, and I'd been in and out, for law school. I went to law school in New York. I lived in Washington, D.C. for a while. Came back in 2014. I've been in Cambridge mostly ever since. I'm an attorney. I currently work in public service. Previously, I was a lawyer at the law firm Wilmer Hale for about 7 years. And I have a 9-year-old boy at the Graham Park School here in Cambridge. So yeah, I decided to run for the school committee as sort of an extension of, my career in public service. I thought, as I had a child in the schools and started working with the district, with elected leadership, with professional leadership, I really thought that we needed to do a better job of engaging educator and family voices in policymaking, because those are the groups that are closest to our kids, and yet I think they're the furthest in many ways from decision making in our city. And so I thought we needed to be a lot more transparent and a lot more responsive to those key stakeholders. And this is something that we've known we need to do in Cambridge for many, many years, and we are still not doing a great job of. So that is something that I thought I wanted to change, and it's the primary reason that I decided to run.
Okay. Parent involvement with the school committee, the decision makers, the policy makers, and just more communication, basically.
Well, not just parent involvement. I mean, I really think that the key stakeholders here are educators, our teachers and paraprofessionals who are experts in what happens in their classrooms. They're the people that work the most closely with our kids, that, are on the ground workforce, professional workforce, and we don't treat them like professionals, and we don't treat them like experts. We don't consult them in policymaking, and they're not involved in a meaningful way at the top levels of the district. So yeah, I mean, I think family engagement is something we really need to do more of and do a better job of, especially with, families from underserved communities, families that are English learners, so on and so forth. But it's not just family engagement. Educator engagement and educator involvement is a key platform, a key part of my platform, and a big part of the reason that I decided to run.
Okay. So, but you're talking again from the administration to the teachers and implementing best practices based on the teacher's experience. Is that it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean,
Great. And obviously you're involved with your child at Graham Parks. Tell me, what other things are you hoping to do? If you were elected, what 2-3 things would you like to work on? What do you think you would immerse yourself in? And what are we doing well, and what needs work?
so those are all great questions. Yeah. So I would say that as a first step, what I want to accomplish in the first 2 years as a member of the school committee is I'd want to engage our professional educators more directly in policymaking. I'd want them to be attending school committee meetings, not as part of public comment, but on the agenda to talk about what's going well and not what's not going well in their school committees, in their school communities. I would want them to know that they have an ear at the school committee level, that they are being listened to, that we care about their working conditions, that we understand that educator working conditions are student learning conditions, and that we value their input as experts. And that's something that is not hard. What you have to do is you have to listen, and you have to proactively engage your educator community, and you have to convince them that they have your ear. But it doesn't take a lot of work, and I think one person can do a lot to move that forward. So that's one thing that I would really like to accomplish. I mean, these pedagogically, I'd say my campaign is really focused on a couple of things. One is I want, like everyone else in Cambridge, dating back 50 years, I want to work on closing achievement gaps, that are, achievement gaps based on income, achievement gap based on race. I think the way to do that is to understand that kids are coming into school with pre-existing skills gaps because of differences in early education opportunities, because of housing insecurity and the cost of housing, because of food insecurity. There are many, many reasons, but because of the inequality we have in Cambridge, which is so significant and expanding all the time, we have significant gaps when kids are coming into the system. And I think that we need to try to cut things off at the source, provide extra supports in early grades, in pre-K, K, first grade, and second grade. So when a kid comes in with language skills that are a couple years behind their peers, they can get the interventions they need. They can get in touch with coaches and interventionists as early as possible. They can get put on an IEP if that's what they need as early as possible. So that's a big area of my focus. The second thing that I'm really focused on pedagogically is middle schools, because that's an area where I think kids are really, you also see disparities continue to develop. And a lot of kids are either academically disengaged or bored. And a lot of kids are developing behavioral issues and, frequently being dysregulated. I think there are a lot of causes for that. This is a tough time in our country. Many kids are having immigration concerns about the state of the world. There may be things going on at home. They may have special needs that are not being properly accommodated, but we are seeing, both in our district and across the country, an increasing number of crisis incidents, behavioral crisis incidents, especially at the middle grades. And so I think that we need to provide both academic and social and emotional supports, both to keep kids academically engaged, but also to make sure that they're not getting dysregulated. And when they are, that our staff really know how to handle them. I think the last thing you asked me to talk about were the things that we are doing well and some things that are great. I mean, I have to say that
one thing, just to follow up. So in terms of the engagement for students right now that are struggling, are you suggesting more tutors or tutoring? Are you suggesting bringing additional resources to bear on the kids that are not performing well? And do we have enough as it is now, or do we need more?
I think that that's an excellent question. And I would say that, yes, it is. If we want to close achievement gaps, I think that really human resources are a key to the problem. And whether that's tutors or, I think, more paraprofessionals, trained paraprofessionals in early grade classrooms and or middle grade classrooms, I think that is the key. I mean, we have good examples in this district of where you have functionally smaller class sizes. For example, at Tobin, where there are 2 educators in every classroom, in every grade, you have really positive student outcomes, both based on test scores and based on, the general feedback, anecdotal, and other feedback that you get from people in that community. I think Tobin is a really successful school, and there's a reason for that. They have a Montessori program, but part of that program is making sure that the functional student to educator ratio is low, that there are more educators in every classroom, and that students, both advanced learners and learners who are struggling, can get more individualized attention. And I think you see the results at schools like Tobin.
Right. So just to follow up, I guess you're implying then they have 2 educators in every class. That's not the same for every school in the country. in the city. Okay.
No, it is not.
Okay.
I mean, I think that that is a model we should be striving to emulate, but certainly in the early grades. Because, when a child gets to third, fourth grade, you go from, as they say, learning to read to reading to learn. And the skills that you've acquired in the first few years of schooling then serve as a foundation for the rest of your education. So if you're caught up by third or fourth grade, you have a base level of knowledge, especially in literacy, that can serve the rest of your education. But if you're not, then you're sort of playing with the deck stacked against you for the rest of your education. So I would say I would like to see us follow that Tobin model where we have multiple educators in every classroom, but I think that it's critically important, especially in early ed and then the early grades at school.
Great. And you were, before I ask my follow-up, tell me what you were just going to say about your next idea.
All right. I was going to say, you'd also asked, what things are going well in the district. And I think that we really need to not forget that this is a district with great assets. I mean, one of the things we have is a really exceptional educator workforce. And I really believe that. It's been my experience with my kid and through my kid in the Cambridge Public Schools. And I think that is a widely shared experience. We have a really remarkable workforce of educators. And we have a really remarkable community that I think is dedicated to tackling serious problems arising out of inequality and to solving them. We have different proposals to do that, but I think there is a great deal of knowledge and there are a lot of resources in Cambridge, not just financial. And you see that in our education. I mean, I think that, and we have invested a lot of money over the years in public education. And I think that contrary to what you might hear from some other candidates, we actually do have significant results to show for it. Now, I'm not the world's greatest advocate of standardized testing, but to give you an example, Jimmy, in 2005, if you look, for example, at 10th grade MCAS scores for ELA and math, Cambridge was, I believe, I'm going off the top of my head here, 21 points behind the state average. If you look at the MCAS scores for 10th grade ELA and 10th grade math from 2024, we were 5 points above the state in ELA and 12 points above in math. And again, that's even though we have a district that has significant inequality, a lot of diversity, and you see that manifested in test scores. We're not sort of a universally rich community like your Belmonts or your Lexingtons. And so I think that when you look at the spending that we've done, and we do spend a lot per student, but we also have significant results to show for it. And I think we need to remember and should not forget that investing in our students and investing in our people has tangible results.
Great. It's nice to hear a positive take on what's happening too, because, I mean, it's just good to remind us of what we do have. So in closing, please, how can people learn more about you? Where can they maybe go to your website, volunteer, perhaps make that large donation? And I say this to every candidate, and every candidate lights up. That would be great. A large donation. Where can they, or any kind of donation, where can they find out more about you?
Well, I'm a public employee, so I cannot ask anybody to donate to my campaign. But you can find out more about me at arjunjaikumar.com. That's ARJUNJAIKUMAR.com. Or you can also find me on socials, on Facebook at Arjun for Cambridge, on Instagram as well. And if you go to my website, I have a newsletter that I get out every week with my thoughts on what's going on in the schools, what I'm hearing from people as I knock doors around the city, what I'm learning. You may have experienced this too, Jimmy, but the best part of being a candidate is you learn so much from all the people you meet.
Absolutely.
Everybody has a story. Almost everybody has something they can teach you. And when you come into this with a curious and inquisitive mindset, you can acquire so much knowledge just in the span of a short campaign. And that's been the best part of being a candidate for me.
Great.
So, you'll hear, and, you sign up for my newsletter, you'll hear what, people, anonymized, of course, what people are telling me as I crisscross this great city. And yeah, I encourage everyone to check it out.
Great. Arjun, I couldn't agree more about running for office and meeting people. And that's why I do this show. I love to meet new candidates like yourself, get different perspectives, and just give them a platform so people can know where they're coming from and what they stand for and what they would hope to accomplish. So thank you so much for joining us today. Arjun, Jaikumar, ladies and gentlemen, you can find his website at arjunjaikumar.com. Thank you so much
Thanks.
for joining us, and good luck. And we'll see you on the campaign trail, and good luck on November 4th.
Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.